Hello and welcome to the Wild Wonder podcast. I am your host, Kristen, and today we have author and an intuitive life coach, Simone Kelly. Welcome back to the podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Hi, it's great to have you. I'm missing your face. For those of you that don't know, Simone and I have known each other probably for over a decade now when we were in the theater scene.
Definitely, it's probably at least 11 or 12 years, yeah.
At least. And it's been wonderful to see your career path. I mean, when we knew each other, I believe you were just getting started in the intuitive life coaching scene.
I was already a business and life coach, but intuitive stuff didn't come till a little right around when I met you. Probably like 2007, so maybe like 2009 or 10 is when I met you.
And I remember around that time, like life coaching wasn't like a thing like it is now, right?
No.
So I remember you handed me this questionnaire because I was struggling to like figure out my next career path, and I look at it, I'm like, what? I don't know the answer to any of these questions. How am I supposed to answer any of this? I don't know what I want.
Yeah, but that's one of the things I like to do, like to help you kind of, think about what are your next steps, what are your goals? Because a lot of times we don't have anybody to talk to even talk about our own personal goals. So, yeah.
We absolutely don't. And I don't think we take enough time to really even stop to ask ourselves, like, what is it that I'm actually wanting to do? Like, we just get stuck on that treadmill of going and doing and continuing to produce. And we never stop to think, maybe this isn't what I want to be doing. Maybe this isn't taking me toward where I want to go.
Exactly.
Which is why I wanted to talk to you today about writing as a magical practice and journaling that anyone can do. So I'd love to know how you got started writing. I know you have a few books out currently. But when did you know that you wanted to be a writer and you actually put like pen to paper?
My very first book was actually a coloring book and short story book in third grade. So I've always been a very creative person. I grew up as an only child. So I have two brothers, but half brothers. But so I technically had to entertain myself most of the time. Right. So it really didn't even start on paper. It started with storytelling on tape recorders. So I was literally producing shows on a tape recorder with me and my friends, and I was like, doing different voices, telling them what to do. This is what so my friends joke around now. They say, you were always a producer, a director back since you was 10 years old. So that's how it started. And then I used to draw really well as a kid. My dad was an architect, so I learned. Know that. Yeah, he used to draw really well, so he taught me a lot. So I used to make coloring books, and that was one of my very first entrepreneurial adventures.
You sold them?
Yeah, in third grade, under the table. I was in the back like, come on, guys, come on.
Way to go.
10 cents a book. So that's how it started, like the unofficial way. And then I guess I would say my mid to late 20s is when I started writing poetry more and then writing short stories. And my very first short story was probably too long to be a short story, too short to be a short story, something like that. And I had a bunch of friends read it, and they were like, well, where's the rest? Where's the rest? We need more. Like, people were reading it at work, pretending they were working. And that book was called At Second Glance. And that book is actually my first self-published fiction book.
What year was that?
2003, when it officially published. I actually finished in like 1998. I wrote in my 20s, like I said. But officially, got it out myself in 2003. 2005 is when I did Jack of all trades, master of none. And that's a nonfiction book. That was my first like business book, personal growth / business marketing book, to help people kind of set goals. Similar to the stuff we're doing. It had a lot of journal prompts in there that we're going to talk about today. So yeah, so that's how it all started. But I'll let you continue. I don't want to talk.
No, go ahead. I think it's fascinating. I'm curious, as an intuitive life coach, I know you've probably come across people that would love to write a book, but there's something blocking them. What do you think keeps most people from actually doing the work?
A couple of things. One would be fear of being judged. Because some people have such great stories, but they're like, oh, I don't want nobody to know my real story. So I might change it, make it into fiction. Like, nobody's going to know, or just not knowing the craft well enough and feeling insecure about it, which at the end of the day, there's so many classes. I mean, when I got started, we didn't have YouTube. And now I'm like on YouTube all day. YouTube University.
Yeah.
But, I joined workshops. I joined writers groups. You have to just be exposed to it. You have to, honor the craft and learn and teach yourself as much as possible. That's one of the things I think holds people back. Another thing is just pure typical procrastination of I guess laziness and just making excuses. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a habit you have to create. Like, it's even hard for me to still write, but I force myself, okay, I have to write X amount of words per day, or, at least 5 days a week I try to write. And when you have a book deal, trust me, you got deadlines. So there's no playing around.
I mean, it does feel daunting though, because I'll speak from personal experience. I'm like, I want to write this book, and in my brain, it's like, oh my gosh, but that seems like this monstrous task, right? And can I really dedicate that much time to see it through? Because when you're writing, unless you have a book deal, you're writing in hopes that eventually you'll get paid, but those hours that you're spent writing, you're not getting paid. So it's kind of that kind of.
I tell people all the time, you want to write as if, it doesn't matter. You're not looking to get paid at the end of the day, because you're not going to be a millionaire necessarily from being a writer. But I don't want to say that. But, because writing is, I could tell people it's your brochure. So your book is your brochure to upsell something else. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So people that have read my books are like, hey, do you know anybody like Jacques? And I'm like Jacques, like one of my characters. And then I end up getting clients from it. So I've had clients and students that read my books that are fiction. So it's really just, breaking up the book into little pieces too. So I tell people to start a blog, write an article every couple of weeks. In 3 months, you'll have a mini book or ebook. You know what I mean? Right. So you just got to break things up into baby steps versus thinking, oh God, I got to write this, 1,000-page book.
All in one day.
Yeah.
You have to have it all figured out.
Yeah.
But going back to your book specifically, I remember when you were writing, I believe, 1544, that you interviewed me about intuition and being able to, when you're dreaming, be able to see another person's life or step into their role. I think that was the conversation.
Oh, we talked. I didn't even remember that. Oh my God, I didn't remember that. That was that related to out of body experience?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were talking about that.
Hmm? Oh, no, I was saying, what was the question?
That when you actually put a lot of your like metaphysical and intuitive knowledge into your books, and I think that's what makes people then reach out to you for your other courses. Right. I just wanted to clarify that.
Oh, yeah.
What made you want to write in this way, in kind of this mystical, magical way?
Well, you know what? They tell you to write what you know at the end of the day when you're a writer, and this is what I know. I mean, like, the stuff that seems mystical and magical to a lot of people is real life. The stuff that's really going on. I might fluff it up a little, make it more fun, but because I'm intuitive, because I teach classes on intuition, I hear loads of stories, so I can put people in my books and change their names, right? And I really like to write about these topics so that people their minds are open, to help demystify the whole concept of being intuitive, or, that it's not all scary, witchy, evil stuff. A lot of times these are gifts that all of us have, but we just discount them, we ignore them, so that's why I like writing about it, because it educates people. Yeah.
Right. And just to give some description or some color to what we're talking about, do you mind giving the kind of abridged version of what 1544 is about?
Sure. 1544 is right here.
How strange. You just had it there?
Yeah, it was just waiting to be talked about, So basically, this book is about a father and daughter with supernatural abilities. The father actually was a sperm donor back in his 20s, and his daughter, Journey, came looking for him at 22. And it just kind of shows how when you have powers, sometimes you don't use them for good all the time. So that's why the tagline is "Daddy's little girl isn't who she claims to be." So there's a lot of suspense, drama. They're calling it a psychic thriller or a psychological thriller. There's also always juicy sex in my book, so you can guarantee that. And then, of course, I have, life lessons and teaching you about personal growth and development. So I always weave that into my books all the time. So, but yeah, it's been a bestseller. This is my first time having an audio book, so I was very excited. Yeah, and
is it out now or does it come out soon? The audiobook.
Yeah, it's all
Everything's out.
Yeah, okay. Ebook, audiobook, paperback.
Very cool. Did you have it? Did you have your hands in the audio?
No.
Portion
Unfortunately, that's the downside of being with a major publisher. You don't have much say when it comes to that. They actually work with another company that picks the actors. That's why I tell people all the time to self-publish, because you need to experience both worlds if you want to be in the traditional publishing. Because at the end of the day, when you get a publishing deal with a major, you're still going to be doing the same work. So
Right.
you just might not have as much say with the cover. Like I had some say with my cover, but not 100% like what I would want. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
they base it on sales, and they base it on I should say the sales department. So sometimes they might say, oh, well, Barnes and Nobles love this cover. So that's nice. Whatever you like is cute, but Walmart likes this cover better.
Right.
So they know the big buyers, so they're gonna try to please them. You know what I mean? So it's at the end of the day, it's still business. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Going back to the craft of writing, though, how does the actual process of writing feel for you?
Woo! When I'm writing, I don't want nobody to bother me. I'm in my own little zone. I'm literally like in another planet. I'm like in another dimension. Because I tell people writing is like playing dolls on paper. Like it's literally like coming up with your own little imagination and making up your own little world. And I love it. It's just it gives me I get goosebumps just talking about it. Like it just gives me so much joy to be creative. And I love the process of not just the writing but also the research part. Like finding out things and interviewing people. Like it kind of helps pull everything together. But yeah, for me,
I remember when you were trying to look for like different kinds of murders. You're like, the FBI is going to come to my door because they're going to be wondering why I keep searching for these different ways to kill them.
Yeah, why I said if anybody looks at my Google, they think I was a psycho. I'm like, how do you cut off a hand? What happens when somebody slices you in the throat? Like I have to type in. It's crazy. And the sad part is the videos that come up are pretty frightening because sometimes there's real stuff that's like terrorist stuff, and it's like, ooh, like. So I know they're watching me. I know FBI watching me. You guys don't have to worry about anything. I'm not gonna really do it. It's all on paper.
Just research.
Yeah. But I lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
That you really enjoy the research part.
The research, yeah. Like recently, I had to interview doctors. And it's so cool because my network is so vast. I forget who I know. Like one of my girlfriends said, "Girl, call Sabelle." One of my homegirls from high school is a doctor, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I can call Sabelle." And then I need a detective. One of my friends' husbands is a retired homicide detective. So I'm like, "This is easy, you know."
Yeah.
I put a post up on Facebook. Hey, I need this, and then somebody sends me the person. So another reason why I tell authors networking is key. You have to network. You can't just be locked up in your little library all day.
All us introvert writers hate that.
But you can talk to people on the internet. You don't got to talk to them. Research is important, but it's nice to get not just Google articles, but to actually talk to people.
No, actually, one of my favorite things, and I'm more of a journalist than a creative writer so far. But what I love, I always tell my daughter, it's like the writer card. Like I walk into places, I'm like, writer, and they don't even check me for anything, because I have to go ask questions. Here to ask questions, and I walk
I'm press. You got your press badge. You're like, let me in.
Let me in. I have questions to ask and people to meet. But that's one of my favorite parts too. Is just like no day is the same, and I'm sure it feels the same for you because I'm always exploring and kind of getting into the world of another person, just like I do on this podcast, and that's the most fun.
No, you know what? Going to the metaphysical, what I love about when I write, that I manifest stuff. Like literally, like if I'm writing about like my book, Like a Final War, which you read, I was writing about a character that was French and Moroccan. And everybody I kept meeting was French and Moroccan. I'd be at a party. Oh yeah, I'm like, oh, you have a nice accent. Where are you from? Oh, I'm Moroccan and my father's French. I'm like, oh, and I'm in yoga and then the teacher's Moroccan and French. And I'm like, what are the odds that this happens all the time? So little joke. This character in this book is Jamaican and Cuban, and my boyfriend is Jamaican, Cuban, and Puerto Rican.
Really?
Yeah.
And wait, you wrote it first?
I had the idea for the book from probably 2018, and I met him a year and a half ago, and and I was like, my friend's like, oh, you manifested the guy in the book. Like, go figure. But a lot of other things happen. Like this things that start to happen. It's because when you're in the zone, in a sense, you start to manifest things and pay attention to things more. But that's what I really love about writing too. You just gotta be careful what you write. Sometimes I'm like,
I was gonna say like we have to put a disclaimer.
I have friends that are like, girl, write about me winning the lotto. Like,
I was gonna say, get me a house.
Help me manifest. Yeah, but yeah, it's a process, and I like to write old school. I like to write with a pen and
Oh yeah,
paper.
me too. There's something physical that just it changes everything
Yep.
to be
But
able to put pen to paper.
the
Hmm.
trick now that saved me many hours is now after I write it, now I dictate it.
So smart.
Yeah. And then I clean it up because it never understands
Yeah.
my New York accent.
Or anyone's accent, really.
No, right?
But going back to that manifestation, do you think journaling or writing in general, but specifically journaling, plays a part in manifesting?
100%. Journaling is one of all my clients that are watching this know that I always tell them they need to journal.
Mm.
Especially those with the throat chakras that are blocked. You can get things out with journaling, and communicate with yourself a lot more. But manifesting things, one of the things I've done and one of the tricks I've done, I got it from this book called "Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting."
Mm.
Write it down. "Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting." The best book you'll
It'll
ever
be
read.
in the show notes
Um,
for sure. I'm
the
sure.
author is Lynn Grabhorn. All my clients know I tell them to get this book. There's and I think, and honestly, this woman I found out years later wrote this book based on Abraham Hicks.
Oh yeah.
What they
Okay.
do. So the concept is to journal about something. They call it scripting.
Mm.
Journal about something as if it's already happening or it already happened. Versus, oh, I hope I get a boyfriend. I hope I get this job. Writing about like, oh, my job is the best. I love my clients, and writing about things as if it already happened. My
Mm-hmm.
very first book, the business book, Jack of all trades, master of none. I scripted about how it was going to be a full house at my book signing. I was going to be sold out of books. It was going to be amazing, da 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 da, and it was going to be at Barnes and Nobles. And this is 2005. It was kind of hard to get your book into a bookstore like that, and I didn't have an agent or anything. And lo and behold, my first book signing was in the Bronx at Barnes and Nobles, which is no longer, they
Wow.
closed it. But I saw my face and I still have it. I still have that poster of my book cover that says today's writer, featured writer, and it was
That's
hanging
wild.
on the
How did
door.
that feel?
It was the best feeling ever. And it was a full house, standing room.
Yeah.
Like I was teaching a workshop too that went along with the book. But it was like magical. I was like, wait a minute, I wrote about this 3 months ago.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I tell people to always journal. And also to get things off your chest. You don't have to actually put it in your journal. Write it on a piece of paper. Like let's say you're mad at somebody, saves you from going to jail.
Yeah.
Write a letter to them, but go crazy, go off.
Mhm.
Like you gotta cuss, do whatever, get it off your chest, and then rip it up, flush it down the toilet. You can burn it if you want, just don't burn the house down, but get it off your chest because
Yeah.
it works like magic.
Yeah, it does. It also, I just recently started journaling, which I know is lame because I should be journaling this whole time, but
It's okay.
I
You gotta
just
start
started like
somewhere.
3 weeks ago, and I noticed that I was able to reframe a lot of the situations, like things I thought I was really upset about or really upset with someone else. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm not upset with them. I'm upset with me. I'm mad at
Ah,
me for not doing that thing I wanted to do, and I'm projecting onto this person all this, all these feelings that I don't want to deal with. That I realized a lot.
right.
The other thing I realized in journaling is that I felt just so much better, even if my journaling made zero sense whatsoever. Even if it was just like, I
Rambling.
dreamed this and I ate this and it really felt good when I did this. It's just random thoughts. Even after that, it felt like it wasn't things circling in my mind anymore. I felt really
Yes.
present for the
It's
day.
getting things off. It's kind of like a brain dump, but it's
Yeah,
also
yeah.
connecting with yourself because a lot of times we're walking around either angry about something, miserable, or in a bad mood, and sometimes we don't even know what it is until we journal. Then we're like, oh, that's what's pissing me off,
Yeah.
and kind of connect from it. And I like how you said reframing, like coming up with a life lesson. Like, okay, this happened. Now what do I do about it? And what did I learn from
Right.
the situation? Versus being woe is me, state of mind all the time. You know?
Yeah, I think the other lesson I learned was a lot of the things I think I'm ruminating on and a lot of the things I think are upsetting me throughout the day aren't the things I'm writing down. So I had to question, am I really upset about them? Or is it just a habit? Or it's just been in my
Mm,
brain so long that I continue to think about the same thing, even though it doesn't even vaguely affect me anymore.
right, right.
Can I let that go?
Right. And do you journal? Because another issue I notice people don't like to journal because they think somebody's gonna find it. I know a lot of people like that.
Nah,
Oh yeah.
I think for me anyway, I think I'm an open book. I think anything in that book, nobody would be surprised to know because I, I read the article you wrote about journaling, which we'll talk about,
Okay.
And one of the things you mentioned is that you could write a letter to a person and then not give it to them or not mail it.
Don't.
I'm totally the person that will mail and give them the letter. Like,
No.
you could interview any guy I've ever dated, and they for sure have received a letter about my thoughts
Dear
on the
John
whole
letter.
matter. Yeah, for sure.
Oh my
But
God, it's funny.
I don't do that anymore. I think I could
Okay.
do without that whole karmic link, but I thought it was funny when I read it. I was like, oh, don't send the letter. I
Yeah,
wish I would have known
exactly.
that 5 years ago, but I don't know. At the time, it worked.
No,
What
I
are
can
some other
mention.
tips? Go ahead.
I would like to add that when I do women's retreats, I have a retreat called Soul Healing. And in that retreat, we talk about relationships, we talk about energy and how it affects you, your chakras. And one of the exercises in the retreat is to write a letter to somebody that hurt you. And it could have been somebody that died 20 years ago. It could be somebody that's in your life now. And every time when people do this, I mean, they're in tears. Everybody's writing. We have music going. But when it's time to burn the letters, they look like they lost like 20 pounds. Everybody looks relieved, like, like they just, because we all stand in the backyard and watch it burn. And this is like, it's very healing. So when I do the testimonial video and I ask, well, so what was your favorite part of the retreat? They're like, when we burn the letters. Everybody turns into pyromaniacs.
Right.
But these are big grown women. They love it. They love it because it really does. It makes you feel closure and have closure in a sense, But like I said, if you don't want to burn the house down, flush it on the toilet.
Yeah. I think it's not with these Miami pipes. We don't.
Oh, maybe not. Maybe not.
But I
Don't
was
stop
also thinking how women, especially, we carry these stories with us. Well, humans in general, but I think most of your clients are women as well as I've worked mostly with women. Is we carry all these stories with us because we feel like we're either not strong enough to deal with them, or if we deal with them, we're gonna crumble and die. And I think it's also a relief to finally address it and
Right.
get it out and burn it once and for all
Yep.
instead of continuing to carry all this baggage.
Right. Well, I have this little saying that I say a lot of people, they don't think that they're holding on to it. They think, oh, I don't care about that person, or I don't care about that situation. I let it go. And I say, yeah, you dusted it under the rug, but that rug is lumpy now.
Yeah.
Because you didn't really deal with it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you think you have closure, but you don't have closure, So, yeah.
Let's tweet that.
Oh, give me my quote.
You think it's under the rug, but the rug is all lumpy now. I like that.
It's still lumpy. Yeah.
Still lumpy. Yeah, I mean, I see that all the time. But what are some other tips that were mentioned that you mentioned in this article or that you have for our audience?
Well, I always say to make it a daily habit. Most of us know our times that we're the best. I recommend the morning no matter what, though, because it's a great way to start the day and set the intention for the day. But some people like doing it at night. It's up to you whenever you can squeeze it in. But definitely make it a daily habit, just like you brush your teeth and take a bath. Hopefully you do that every day.
If not, here's a tip. Brush your teeth and take a bath every day.
Add flossing to that, too, while you're at it. So what ways you can do it, I'll give you examples that are in the book. Because I think a lot of people avoid journaling because they think it's just going to be like a bitch session, like complaining. And I'm like, no, it doesn't have to be that. It could also be setting the intention for the day. Like, what are the things I want to accomplish? You can add your to-do list in there if you need to. It's just connecting with, okay, brain dumping. What am I working on today? How do I want to feel? You can have affirmations in there. Write it over and over and over again. I have in here talking about how do you feel, what's bothering you, what are you proud of, and some affirmations I like are I'm happy and grateful for, and make a list. Just kind of getting into the zone of, okay, what's really working in my life right now? What's not working in my life? And what can I do to improve it? Because at the end of the day, we can life coach ourselves sometimes. I'm not trying to, you're still kind of me, but a lot of times we know what the issue is. You just need a coach to hold you accountable. That's what
exactly. A push.
We know what the issues are 9 times out of 10. So I have another one I like is anything I want is attainable because I own my power. That's my tagline for my company too. But if you write things over and over again, kind of getting into the zone, it's like tricking yourself in a sense, but it helps put you in a good mood. Another one people love is money flows to me easily. Or, I attract money. I'm an attraction magnet. If you're having money issues, you can work on doing that. So you want to talk about the benefits of journaling?
Well, I'd like to go back. So you could either use for those that are having a hard time getting started journaling. And I just want to say from personal experience, I thought I was going to be like, oh, I have to write all these pages in the morning. It's going to be so boring. And I kind of challenged myself to 3 pages a morning. And I actually have found that I've gone way over.
Look at that.
Like 4, 5, 6 pages. And I'm like, oh, I get to the last one and I don't want to stop. But for those that really have difficulty in staring at a blank page, I think what you're saying is absolutely correct, to prompt yourself with some of these questions maybe, or just by writing over and over again these affirmations.
Yep. It gets you in the mood. Yeah, because I say it could be 10 minutes. It doesn't have to take that long to journal. You don't have to write a book. And get out your head that, oh, somebody's going to find it. I have to write perfect grammar. Like, give me a break. Some people are very, like, anal like that they try to make it so perfect. I guess they think they're going to be like Anne Frank or something. Somebody's going to find it in a file.
I actually had that thought this morning.
What'd you say?
I actually had that thought. After I journaled, I was like, if I died today, like, they would find this journal, and this is what my child has left. This
is my legacy.
This is my legacy here. I'm complaining about laundry or something. Like, but then I comforted myself because nobody could read my handwriting, so it's kind of
right. You're safe. Yeah, you're already safe there. You got your code. your encryption is your handwriting.
Hieroglyphics nobody can decipher.
Exactly.
But beyond like being able to like just dump it out into the page, what are some other benefits of journaling in this way?
I always say it's free therapy. Because it helps you connect with yourself, helps you get clear, kind of sort things out. Especially it helps save some of your friends from hearing you complain every 5 minutes. You know, because sometimes people don't realize, even though friends are there to help and comfort, but sometimes it can be redundant and it can be, draining to them. So you want to, it's kind of having a little common courtesy with seeing what things you can work on yourself. Another thing is it helps you think through solutions. Think through all the, come up with solutions for certain things. Like I said, making that list of what's not working in my life. Okay, what's not working now? I'm overweight 20 pounds. Okay, what can I start doing to get back to the weight that I want to be? Maybe I hate my job. Okay, what can I do to improve looking at my job in a different light, and then start looking for a new job maybe.
Well, it's building, what you're speaking to is building that awareness, which a lot of us are missing. I think for women especially, maybe they've never been asked, like, what is it do you want? Like, what do you want?
Exactly.
So they've gone along with these lives that kind of the world has told them that they should want, and then they're stuck in this scenario where, like, nothing's working, but they haven't given them the space to really figure that out.
The other benefit too, like I tell people, it's a great me time. It also helps you calm you and most times. And I look back at sometimes at my journaling, and even when I just write my fiction books, like I wrote that, like like wow, like because you're in the meditative state, you know what I mean? Yeah. So you're kind of flowing. So maybe it ain't you writing, it's the spirit guides helping you. I know. But it's a great way to like get in the zone, like I say, to really connect. But yeah, I highly recommend it all the time because I know a lot of people and men too. Don't just say women. Men need to journal too. And that's why I said it's very sexy when a man journals. And he shows he's in connection with himself,
Absolutely, because it is like the word journaling. It makes me think of like Judy Blume, right? Like a little girl, 12 years old, writing her journal, which I think you mentioned in the post.
Yes, I did.
But it is so much more than that. Like it does have all these beautiful benefits.
Right.
That can really change your life.
Yeah. My mom found one of my journals when I was young, but so that kind of traumatized me for a little bit. But look, good thing I wasn't really doing anything, but my friends were, and I was writing about what they were doing. We all got in trouble.
I had some great journals as a child, because you have that kind of time to like press flowers into the pages and like cut out concert tickets and doodle.
Right.
That was the best.
Yeah, but the locks don't work, girls. those little locks they put on.
I actually did that with a paper clip the other day to my daughter's little lock because she asked me to because she was locked out, and she's like, how do you do that? I'm a genius.
Yeah, that's a secret. Yeah. But the other thing is kind of making your journaling time sacred. Like have a favorite pen, your favorite notebook. It doesn't have to be like a fancy notebook. It could be literally like a regular spiral, notebook. But it's nice to have a nice notebook that represents you and that you can kind of go to every day, and it makes it more fun, like a part of your spiritual ritual every morning.
Almost like spiritual hygiene, like
Mm-hmm. I like
brushing your
that.
spiritual teeth.
I like. Look, we need to put that on a tweet.
Great thought.
Your spiritual teeth. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. So anything else that journaling could help someone that maybe has never journaled before?
Um, I would say just to try it. Give yourself a challenge. Maybe for like 7 days and see how different you feel. Because I have a lot of students and clients that I tell them, try to meditate first and then journal, and that way you're kind of like already calm and relaxed. And even though meditation might be intimidating for some people, go on YouTube. They got plenty of guided meditations. 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 10 minutes. So find
Or
a
insight
meditation.
timer on the phone, I really like too.
Yeah, but some people can't quiet their mind enough, and they
Oh,
start. They think that they have to be quiet. It doesn't have to be 100% quiet,
yeah.
but people always are intimidated by meditation. So I tell them go to YouTube, meditate, and then journal, and then start with what's working in my life, what's not working in my life. That's real easy. Or start with what you're grateful for, making your list of what you're grateful for, and it'll shift your mood like that, especially if you're in a bad mood. But it always starts your day off like in a good way where you feel happy and grounded. It's a great way to connect with yourself. So I just say
Does it?
give yourself a challenge, 7 day challenge, and maybe 10 minutes a day. Start off with that. And I like how you said a 3 pages. Say, hey, I'm gonna do it for 1 page. You don't gotta give it so many pages at first, but just get into the groove of it. And then after a while, you're gonna feel weird when you don't journal.
Oh yeah, it's only been 3 weeks and already I'm like, where's my journal when I wake up? So like, I start writing right when I wake up. Like I'm barely out of bed. I just lift my pillow a little and like start writing. So
Oh,
it's
good.
definitely illegible, but it's because I'm
Right.
laying down trying to write. But it
You probably
helps.
remember your dreams then more too, if you have it right
Oh
next to
yeah,
your
I've been
bed.
having the
That's
wildest
good.
dreams since I started writing too. Like I remember everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
tell people to
definitely
write their
nice.
dreams down and not in their phone, but if you have a notebook right by your bed, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It helps actually writing down the dreams. Maybe this is a thing to add to the journaling. When I wake up and I feel like it's so vivid that I add my dream to this journaling session, it actually gives a couple of like clues to like my inner psyche. Like, oh,
Mhm.
that was weird. Why was all that water in my dream? And my like, how is that tied to my emotional state
Your
right
life.
now? I kind of like
Yeah.
start a little investigation.
Yep. Go to Google and search it up. Yeah, water represents your life. Yeah, that's a really really that's a common one. Water and what's another one I always hear about? Um I think water's the number one. I'm thinking it's another one, but I can't remember right now. But when I hear like the water's murky, it's like, oh, I can't get through it. That means something in your life is probably holding you back. Oh, traveling, like anything with transportation in a car and a plane. Depending on how that transportation went, can be related to
Mm-hmm.
what's going on in your life. So, but yeah,
Very
journaling
interesting. We'll
is
have to do a whole nother
it's
episode
a whole
on
nother show. Yeah.
dream journaling. Um, but for today, I'll put it in the show notes, your post about how exactly to get started and what prompts you can use.
Great.
I also want to let everyone know that you'll be having starting a podcast soon
Oh
for
yeah, yeah.
for a book. Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I already have, it's called Own Your Power, the Own Your Power Radio Network.
Mhm.
And we just celebrated our 9th year. Woo-hoo.
Whoa.
Yeah, even through COVID, we still kept it going. So we're
Nice.
starting a new series. We have different shows. It's not just one show. So,
Mhm.
but Own Your Power Lifestyle Show is my show that I interview people.
Right.
Which I need to have you on next.
Yay.
And then we're starting a separate show related to a book that I wrote called At Second Glance, the book I mentioned. Ironically, I wish I had it in front of me. The very first chapter starts off with Storm Gallagher, the main character, writing in her
Mhm.
journal.
Huh.
Yeah, she's on a cruise ship writing. Yeah, look at that tie in
How
there.
magical is
Exactly.
that?
Yeah, so that is gonna be like almost like think of it like a audible, like an audio book, but it'll
Mhm.
be episodic. So like it'll be different episodes, and I got voice actors. It's not just me reading, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. So
That's
we
very
already
cool.
recorded a few episodes already, so I'm excited. Yeah,
Yeah, that should be a lot of fun. I have watched a couple of like the little skits and stuff you've done before on YouTube
yeah,
with actors. It's awesome.
Oh, thank you. See, that's the tape recorder coming full circle.
Yeah. I always think about that too. This is like another good podcast episode of like all these things we do when we're a kid and how they kind of become different as adult. Like we're still kind of doing the same thing, just in a
but it comes
different
back
way
full
because we're
circle.
adults. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very
But
cool.
that goes to show that usually as children we already know what our calling is, but then we get sidetracked because we need to get a real job.
Yes, totally. Totally.
Yeah.
I always get stuck in that. I was like, well, because especially if you have a job like as a writer or yoga teacher or anything like that, you get so much, you're inundated with people constantly asking you what your job is. And you're like, I'm a writer. And they're like, no, what's your real job? And I'm like, I'm a writer. Like, I don't know about you, but I constantly question myself, like, don't I have a real job? I thought I had a job.
It's a career. It's not a job.
Yeah, it's a career. I can't tell you the number of times that's happened to me with like, I teach yoga, and they're like, yeah, but what do you do for
What
money?
do you really do? Really? I never, with yoga they do that? Wow.
Yeah, that's my job.
They think it's like just this little side hustle. Yeah. Mm-mm.
No, that's what I do. But it was so lovely having you again. I hope to see you soon. Where can listeners find you other than this podcast?
Well, thanks for having me again. I'm glad. I must be doing something good to get welcome back. And people can find me on Own Your Power on my website, ownyourpower.biz. And also on social media, I'm at Own Your Power on Instagram. And Own Your Power Now on TikTok. So yeah, you can find me on all those places. And and Own Your Power TV on YouTube.
Oh, right. Okay. We'll put all of that on the show notes, including a link to the post about journaling.
Okay.
But thanks again. I want you to stay on the call after I say bye to all of our listeners because I have a crazy dream I want to tell you about.
Okay. Can't wait to hear it.
All right.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Bye.